Hey guys, what's up? Serena Appiah here from thriftdiving.com, and today we are going to be refinishing this old chest. We're not going to destroy it, as the furniture painting haters would say. We're not going to destroy it. We are actually going to be refinishing this. I found it several months ago at the thrift store. It's solid oak, and if you have ever made anything by hand, you would know just how expensive oak is. I mean, I'm talking like super expensive. So, and you can tell that somebody like made this by hand. It looks like something that some grandfather, or could be a mom, it looks like something that somebody made for maybe a child or for their room or whatever, but it's good quality wood. We don't want to destroy this. We actually want to try to preserve this. So we're going to sand this down today with an orbital sander. And then we got to figure out how we want to refinish this. Like, do we want to go with the same golden color? I'm really not a fan of golden color stain, but we might do something a little darker, or we might do some liming wax. You'll just have to wait and find out, because I don't even know yet. So for this project, I'm using the ONE+ battery-operated Orbit Sander by RYOBI. Got to have a dust mask, and I'm using the power drill because I have some hardware that I need to remove. Now, I do know that this looks a little bit like a coffin. Even my 8-year-old said, "Mommy, this looks like a coffin." So we have some design challenges that we need to work through, but I think it's going to look great. So I started by removing all of the dust, the dirt, the grime. I like to vacuum out a piece of furniture before I start on it, just to remove any cobwebs. And then it was time to start sanding. Now, I started with the Orbit Sander because I have refinished furniture before using just an Orbit Sander, and it worked fine. This one I started to get a little bit impatient, and it looked like a lot that I was going to have to remove. So I decided to put the Orbit Sander away, and I pulled out the big dog and decided to use the Belt Sander. This was a lot more powerful. Now, this does come in a battery operated. I have the old one, which is the cord one. I believe it's the old one. And it really removed a lot of the finish from the chest, and I was able to work a lot more quickly. Now, I could have used, chemical stripper, but a lot of times if I don't have to use chemicals, I'd prefer not to. So the Belt Sander did a really good job of removing a lot of the finish, and I was able to go back with the Orbit Sander with a finer grit sandpaper and do some of the final smoothing. And then, of course, the final sanding I did by hand. Now, I also used the multi-tool. So if you put the little head on the multi-tool, you can get into some details, and that's what I did around the handles, because those it was very difficult to do with any of the larger tools. So the chest was looking pretty good. The sanders did a great job of pulling off all that stain. And now it was time to apply some water to this red oak. The reason why I did water is because I was planning to do a water-based wood dye. This is different than the traditional pigments that we've known for a long time that we buy from the home improvement store. But with wood dye, because it's water-based, you have to apply water first, let it dry overnight, which is what I did, and then come back and sand it down again with a 220 grit sandpaper. This is essentially raising the grain of the wood before applying the wood dye. So the next step would be allowing it to dry and then applying a coat of wood dye. The next day I applied a little bit of wood filler to the cracks along the top of the chest. I let it dry and then sanded it down as I did my final sanding for the chest. Next, it was time to mix the wood dye. Now, all I needed was a cup of hot water, some ebony wood dye, mixed it together, and it was time to apply it to the wood. Wood dye is a little different than stain because it actually penetrates the wood, whereas with stains, traditional stains, the pigments just lie on top of the wood. You'll notice here that this red oak has a beautiful grain, and I don't want to cover that up. I actually want to highlight and accentuate that. So wood dye was a perfect choice because it will soak into the grain and it won't disturb the grain. You'll see in just a moment what we plan to do with that grain and why we don't want pigment lying in the grain. And here's a really good tip. Try to find a Lazy Susan or a TV stand, something you can put your project on and swivel. This came in handy when I was working on the project and I needed to put the wood dye on the top and then I needed to do the dye on the sides. I didn't have to move. I could just swivel that baby around. I found that swivel at the thrift store for $10, and so it's really come in handy. So go ahead and pick yourself one up. It makes your projects super easy. So you can see here that I'm applying the dye to each of the sides of the chest, but I also decided to apply the dye to the inside too. Even though I didn't sand that down, it didn't have the same finish that the outside did, and so it took the dye really, really well. The next step was to apply a coat of shellac sanding sealer. This helps to seal the dye so that anything that you put on top of the dye doesn't affect it. So it's considered sort of like a barrier coat. So I did that to the top and to the body of the chest. And once it dried for 45 minutes to an hour, I went back over it with a 220 grit sandpaper to smooth everything out. Now for the next layer, I was using a water-based top coat. This was scaring me because it was turning purple because of the color of the dye, but everything turned out very well. It went on slightly purple, but it dried clear, it dried smooth, and we could move on to the next step, which was adding liming wax to highlight that beautiful grain. Now, I absolutely love liming wax. I used it on my vanity that I built for my bathroom. And when you use it with oak, it's perfect. Oak has this beautiful grain. And when you apply just a little coat of this wax, and the way that we refinished this by making sure that we used the top coat first, we could then go over that top coat with the liming wax. And you can see that it's just settling right into that groove there, so that when we go back with clear wax and we remove the excess liming wax, it will leave a nice highlighted green. So this is one of my favorite things to do with oak, and anytime I have a chance to refinish oak or to build something with oak and then to apply, a finish to it, I love going with liming wax. It's perfect. Liming wax will leave a slight haze on your project, so just make sure that you use some clear wax in order to wipe it off. You'll notice here that the haze is coming off, the wax is coming off pretty good, leaving that liming wax in the grain, but you'll have to go over it a few times with the clear wax just to get it off, just to let you know. All right, so now I wanted to go over it with some clear wax to get it to shine. So I take a ball of wax and I just put it in an old t-shirt or lint-free towel and wipe it on the surface. Let it dry for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then with a clean towel, go over it again, and you'll notice that shine just starting to pop. I love it. So let's talk hardware. I did not want to buy new hardware for this, and I love rub and buff. So I took the existing hardware, put a coat of metallic wax on it. And if you want to know more about rub and buff, just go ahead and click that little link up there and you'll get more information about how to use rub and buff to just change your tarnished hardware on your projects. Save some money. And as much as I tell people, take your hardware, put it in a plastic bag, save it, I didn't follow my own advice. I ended up losing these 2 plugs here, and I had to use moldable glue to replace it, and I just painted them silver. Now, I wanted to personalize this, so I took some vinyl with my cutting machine, a sheet of aluminum, and made a monogram for the front. And I was hoping that it would make it look less of a coffin and just more of a personalized chest. And the first thing I needed to do was to tack them down, hold them in place, so I used a little bit of adhesive, but it was still coming up on the ends. And so I just took some little nails, hammered those in at the corners, and I kind of liked the way the nails made it look. Just made it look a little bit more rugged, I think. Anyway, it turned out really, really good. And my husband actually said he liked it. So I guess it does look kind of manly. Unfortunately, I put my initials and not his, but we can always replace that. All right, guys, so we are officially done with this project. And I have to say, it still looks like a coffin. But I think the finish looks really good. The monogram makes it feel less like a coffin. And I absolutely love this finish. It's to die for. Excuse the pun. If you like this project, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, leave a comment down below, and if you want to know all the products that I used for this video, for this makeover, be sure to go down below to the description and you can find everything you need right there. I'm Serena Appiah from Thrift Diving, and I will see you next project. And be sure to go to thriftdiving.com. You can sign up to get 5 ebooks, printables, checklist, just for subscribing. I'll see you next video. Hey, thanks for watching today's video. You are definitely welcome to come back, check out some of these other videos over here that you might like, and be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell because you don't want to miss what we're doing here at Thrift Diving. I'll see you again next video.